Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world. Welcome to Rage Across New York. We find ourselves in the Sept of the Green in the days following the raid against the Storm Eater. The aspect of the Eater of Souls that, for a second time, has now been put down by valiant members of the Garou Nation. This time in New York. Surprisingly few casualties or injuries, at least of a lasting nature, came from this endeavor. However, the renown and rewards were copious in nature. And it is the reason that Callie Krykos sent word out to have Logan, the Black Fury Metis, meet her in the set, in the Umbra, at his earliest convenience. And so we find Callie sitting near the ruins of what once was Sunju, the tree houses are owned and operated by the stargazers of the Sept. And so she sits on a log, tapping her foot with a item behind her, waiting.
Logan has gone through a little bit of an awakening in the last couple of days. Finally becoming aware of the fact that he is indeed welcomed in the Sept of the Green, welcomed and appreciated for being there. He's kind of wary about it. He doesn't know how to react to this. All his life, he's only known toleration, and it's different, and it's new. So he's experimenting with this new part of his life. And for the first few times, he's smiling more, having fun. And he'll walk up to Callie, and where he'd normally be wearing dark clothes, and a hood over his head, and stuff like this. He's wearing white pants, combat boots, and a graphic t-shirt that says, "My other car is the Batmobile."
If for no other reason, he gets an odd look only for the white pants, a type of clothing that Callie despises with every fiber of her being. But it seems to be that that's where her ire is focused, as she just has a pained look on her face as she watches Logan approach. And then sighs, shaking her head, and then puts on a genuinely friendly smile. Well, the returning hero.
What do you mean?
Well, you're one of the many heroes of the set now.
Well, I mean, I did what was necessary. But
True. As did we all.
indeed.
How is your bow working out for you?
He'll smile. That was an unexpected gift.
I had a similar experience with Wastinger. She'll pick up the bow that's sitting beside her, the bow of Artemis, and set it across her lap. When we raided the hive at the Sept of the Running Stone, Wastinger allowed me to use this bow. I had no idea that it belonged to her in particular. And when all was said and done, she tested me, and when she was satisfied that I had met the requirements that she felt were necessary, she let me keep her bow.
Logan's eyes will sort of widen a little bit. It's been my experience that such bows were handed down from mother to daughter for decades, centuries even.
Unfortunately, my mother was not she wasn't a ranged combatant, and she died before I came to the set.
As did my mother.
Sorry to hear that. And she'll kind of offer a hand down to or gesture towards another stump that's sitting pretty much across from her. Not exactly linear, but close enough.
Logan will take a seat and sort of nod. So what is it you wish to speak to me about?
Well, just a few things. One is how you are fitting in here. We don't get too many Metis Furies in this set. And I just wanted to know. She kind of looks away. I'm no member of the Lazarite movement, but I can appreciate what they're doing. There are Metis sisters of our tribe that get the worst shake of any tribe, I think, as far as Metis are concerned. And our males, they don't get much better.
Here's my experience that despite everything, our tribe has one of the most even-handed approaches to treating their Metis.
Some might say that. Others might say that Pegasus allows us to keep our Metis because we should be reminded of our shame. Or so some elders say.
Everyone should recognize that they are not perfect.
True.
As for my place here, the Striders have given me welcome, as have their pack totem, reindeer.
I have to say I was a little disappointed when I heard that you were an archer that I didn't get a chance to try and proposition you first.
Well, admittedly, I was a little wary of meeting everyone in the sept. Antonio was one of the first people to actually welcome me as a potential friend.
Well, he is a outgoing and charismatic individual, so it's probably a blessing that you got to meet him. Guys will.
Indeed.
And I have to apologize for the rather surly nature in which you found me the first time we met, but I was deprived on 7 days of slumber. So
no apologies are necessary. You were completing a challenge. And from what I hear, you did excellent.
It was tough. I'll have to. Shakes her head. I'm never taking another challenge that requires me to stay awake for any time over 3 days.
Sleep is important.
You have no idea. She chuckles.
I was, and Logan will think back, I was once punished as a child. Um, as I was a metis, could change form at that point. I was often put on patrol duty at the Sept of the Three Maidens, even as a cub. One time, I broke my aunt's favorite vase practicing archery. When I wasn't necessarily supposed to be practicing archery. You have to understand, in the Sept of the Three Maidens, um, archery was only taught to women. I taught myself. And when my aunt had discovered what I had done, she told me that I was to practice with the other women to prevent myself from getting hurt when no one knew where I was. One day, when I was practicing in the yard, an arrow flew through the window and broke her favorite vase. I was punished by having to keep up patrol for 5 days and 5 nights. It is not an action that I wish to repeat again.
I can only imagine.
And that Logan will sort of look around and then look at Callie and then realize, I've completely forgotten. Aren't congratulations in order? You're to be married soon.
She does blush a little bit at that and just kind of smirks as she looks away. Yeah, I'm getting married. It's no secret, but we finally decided on a date now that we're not facing down some massive ancient bane that might destroy us all with just a thought.
But we have a cairn to build.
This is true, but that seems far less insurmountable than dealing with, well, an aspect of the worm itself.
That's true. I suppose anything would seem less than dealing with that. For the life of me, I did not expect to come face such an event when I first set out from Greece.
I don't think any of us did, to be honest. I mean, really, where's there left to go from here? Fighting down the Eater of Souls itself?
Well, from what I hear, those cairns in the Amazon are in quite a bind at the moment. Well, they've always been, I guess.
Thinking about finding some vacation time? What?
No.
Kelly chuckles slightly.
Though I would like to go there eventually.
I would like to see parts of the world. I would like to encounter some of our cousins. Well, at least those that are a little bit less than hostile towards our people.
Sorry.
I hear the fair of Africa are an interesting lot.
I have not heard or I do not know, or blah. Sorry, I don't know very much of them.
I've heard of the cat people, and they seem to have a very interesting dichotomy down there. Or at least speculative rumors say so.
I see.
Of course, you've probably seen or at least met or heard of one or two Koraks before.
The ravens are interesting.
I have it as a personal goal to someday meet and hopefully not deal too much with the ragabash-like antics of one of the coyotes.
I have not met a coyote. I hesitate to do so.
Everything you hear about them.
I will be right back. I think I have to go grab the dogs, okay?
Yep. So we sit and wait and enjoy our peace and quiet.
False alarm. Okay.
But all those creatures out there, they don't really compare to our own kind. In the end, anyway.
I see.
I suppose maybe well, let me get to the point of reason why I brought you here. Our dear tribal alpha, this particular set, she gifted me with a fetish after this all happened. Passed me down her Centurion armor. And seeing as we had a second pair of it, she'll reach behind her and grab the fetish armor that was lent to Logan for the duration of the storm meter. She thought that I should give this to you.
Logan will look at the armor and then sort of reach up or reach behind him and touch the bow. I don't know if I could take that. And he'll look down, sort of avoiding Callie's eyes. This scepter's given me so much already.
Then take it so you can protect the sept to a much higher level. Plus, I don't think you want to refuse a gift from Wastinger.
Indeed not. Nor from you. that matter.
Well, if you really, really didn't want it, I suppose I can find some way to make use of it. Maybe have it repurposed into a pair of nice fitting leather pants or something of that nature. Seems like a waste, though.
He'll sort of smile. Twist my arm, why don't you?
She'll chuckle.
Thank you. I will accept this.
She'll hand over the armor.
Logan will take it. What does it actually look like? I've never come across Black Fury armor before.
It's similar to gladiatorial armor. It's a leather jerkin with the pleats of a skirt around it.
Mm-hmm.
All the metal parts look to be gold, like the accents and the various depictions of like the pauldrons and things of that nature of Pegasus, and sort of a winged Pegasus looks very angry.
Mm-hmm.
On the chest, there's a crest of the actual Black Fury glyph, and then on the back is a feathered pattern of golden wings, so to speak, that match with the Fury depictions of Pegasus in some of their tribal art.
And because it's a fetus, I assume it shrinks and grows to fit the wearer.
It does. It also effectively, when active, gives you 3 armor without any dice penalty.
Oh, wow. So that's why. That's definitely while I was growing 9. I forgot how much armor it gave for a second. 3 armor is nothing to scoff at. So, sort of, he'll bow his head. Thank you.
Do you have the means to dedicate it?
I do not, actually.
And she kind of looks to see if the bow has been dedicated to him as well.
The bow has yet to be attuned to him because he has not gone through the whole process of shooting the arrow to the moon and stuff like that. So, and plus 8 is really hard to get. Oh.
It can be.
Yeah.
Callie, she'll slowly channel her gnosis to the point where the armor appears on her chest. And she kind of knocks it twice. Almost stronger, if not as strong, as Kevlar, I've noticed. To take the sort of beating that we took and come out on top, I suppose it would have to be, right?
Definitely.
All the same, if you wish, I can bind these to you and make sure that they go through your forms that you wish to wear them in.
That would be most appreciated.
I can do the bow for you as well if you wish to attune it.
And he'll sort of look up. Don't we need the moon to attune it?
We are in the Umbra.
That is also true. Okay. Yeah. And Logan will pull. It's a rage roll to attune it, yeah?
I have to double check that one because I have not used a moon bow since I played an Athena.
Hold on.
Athena moon bow.
There we go. Because Shelby sent me the stats to it. All right. Now I have to go get the dog. I will be right back.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
Nope, no problem.
All right. So what? Here we go.
And it's a difficulty 7 to Gnosis roll to actually attune it initially.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So Logan will take an arrow out, and it's a rage roll, yeah?
Gnosis roll.
Gnosis roll.
Unhappy puppy who doesn't want to be kept away from everything that's going on.
Yeah, there's a person in the house that he wants to go bother.
How dare you keep me in here?
All right. So, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So Logan takes out an arrow and aims to the moon and shoots it. I don't know if anything flashy happens.
Well, I'm pretty sure you feel a certain surge of Gnosis go through the bow, and it seems to almost sort of form to your hand a bit better than perhaps it did before. You sort of feel a certain bond to it at that point. And Kelly steps to one side as the arrow comes back down and hits the ground.
Yep. He'll pick it up, put it back in his quiver. That seems dangerous.
This is true. Did you ever hear about a tale that came out of the Midwest where a hunter was using a bow, and while he was going to fire at a deer that was near enough to town, he slipped, fell, let the arrow fly by accident. It flew up and out of the tree line and into town.
Mm-hmm.
As he comes back into town, he finds an ambulance and cop cars all around a bank. And when he asks what happens, the officer tells him, well, a man tried to rob a bank, and on his way out of the bank, an arrow hit him in the chest.
No way.
True story. I, for one, would have played the lottery just after that day.
Yeah. 6 numbers.
So, let's see here. Wits and rituals. Your clothing is already dedicated to you, I'm sure.
Actually, no. Because this is new clothing that he bought specifically after the Storm Eater.
Ah. Well, then you have your own set of clothes, then, I'm sure.
Mm.
It is attuned. So she'll proceed to help him cinch the armor up on his chest and sort of tighten it, pulling the laces just tight enough that they're snug but not restrictive, just as Wastinger did for her. And she then places her hand onto the armor and onto the bow, and by unison its quiver, because that counts as one item. And we'll roll her wits and rituals. Difficulty 7. She'll invest a willpower in it. Didn't need to, though.
That'll work.
That will work.
Now, just having these 2 items dedicated, does that lower my gnosis pool?
No, it just means now you're maxed out on the number of items you can have dedicated to you.
Right.
You can have 3 items, a set of clothing, like, shirt, pants, shoes, all of that counts as one.
Right.
The bow and arrow, or the bow and quiver, would count as 1, and the armor itself would count as 1.
Okay, cool. All right.
So, for that point,
Logan will sort of duck his head respectfully and thank her for dedicating the items to him.
anything for one of my tribe mates?
This is really just... It's a lot to take in.
Were you really treated so poorly back home?
Not poorly, just... Do you know how... You know how in a family that has a whole bunch of children in it, how there's that one child, he's more they're more than likely the middle child. And they're they're part of the family. But more often than not, they're looked over. Not necessarily forgotten, but just left to their own devices.
Sort of a well-meaning but mild neglect.
Yeah, I don't mean to speak ill of my aunt, but as the alpha of the sept, she was often too busy. She didn't have very much time for me.
I
And
don't know what that's like personally, but I can sympathize with it because it's how my sister felt when it came to time divided up between myself and her when it came to our mother.
you're talking of Leah, right?
Yes.
And he'll sort of look and he'll say, I hope it's all right with you, but I've offered to teach her the bow.
Kelly takes in a deep breath at that. I had already offered her such, but it wouldn't hurt to help. Wouldn't hurt to have two teachers. Between our two styles, perhaps she can hybridize her own.
Indeed. I didn't mean to step on. I didn't mean to step anywhere near your territory. It just
My
seemed
sister's not my territory, Logan.
she's your family.
She is my family, but not my territory. There's a difference.
And her and Alan seem rather taken with each other.
I could think of worse partners for her.
I do want to make clear that I only want to help her learn and nothing more.
Kelly kind of chuckles a bit. Logan, if that were coming from somebody like Travis, I'd find it disingenuous. But I will always give the benefit of the doubt to members of my own tribe. Regardless of who their parents are.
Still, it's better if things are out in the open, especially and I don't know if Vale likes me much. So
He hasn't mentioned you to me, so that could very well be true. Vale likes to gossip. So omitting you might be a blessing in disguise if you don't want your business all around the sept.
that's true.
Nobody knows your proclivities when it comes to the bedroom, as apparently everybody seems to know mine now.
Well, and Logan's gonna try very hard not to smile. Try
Make a
very
willpower roll. Make a willpower roll. Make a willpower roll. See what happens. let you decide the difficulty.
Oh yeah, two successes. I was putting it at 6.
Okay.
So he doesn't smile, but there's sort of a laughter to his eyes. The time that I met Vale, he was very open about certain aspects.
His opinion of Garu and our tribe are not exactly the best. But considering what he's had to come from, I can understand it, and I don't hold it against him.
I'll try to keep that in mind the next time I speak with him.
Just try and be open and natural with him, and you'll usually win him over. I've noticed anyway.
So, was there anything else?
No, that's really it for me. I wanted to make sure that you got the armor and that you could have it attuned to you properly.
Thank you. Ryan.
Callie, for the first time being called Raya, graciously sort of bows her head, sort of now fitting into the honorific. At some point, you and I are going to have to see who's the better archer.
I will admit that I'm not versed in competition shooting. Huh. But it would be fun.
Callie is going to pull one of the arrows from her back and roll her gnosis. As she takes a look at we'll say some object hanging down from the trees that's sort of like maybe a wind chime, and she aims for the wooden base of it. And she's pulling out one of her air arrows, one of the talons that goes at a lower difficulty.
Yeah.
She lets it fly to great effect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she catches it to the point where the arrow is actually parallel with the flat of the wood as it just hits into the chime and causes it to chime loudly in the random tunes, leaving the arrow impacted and embedded in the wood. And she looks back at Logan with a raised brow.
Logan kind of paws at an ear really quickly because that's loud to him, very loud. But he'll close his eyes and he'll take an arrow. And this isn't an arrow that's at a lower difficulty.
Callie plays with a stack deck usually.
That's okay. But he'll open his eyes for just a second and let the arrow fly. Oh. Two successes.
I'm sure it hits, just not as cleanly as Callie's. And she smirks as she then pulls one of her other air arrows and just hands it over to Logan without looking at him. Try this one.
Okay. Logan will take the arrow and thank you. And try again. Assuming that hitting it has made it chime again, which causes his whole head to twitch because of the sheer volume of it to him. And that's a much better roll.
That's an amazing roll.
So instead of the flat thing, Logan, the little part that catches the wind to chime on the chimes gets stuck to the base of the tree. And his ears will stop twitching as the sound fades. And he'll sigh. That hurt. That hurt a lot.
She'll look at the impact and nod. At some point, I'll have to show you everything I know about Talon making. Because these arrows, and she holds out one of the ones with the white feathered fletches, as opposed to the black ones.
Mm-hmm.
These are so wonderful for hitting targets.
Indeed. I've never thought of making talons. Indeed, I've never had any sort of a connection to the spirits more than, well, he'll sort of gesture at his bat-like features in the Umbra. But it would be something I would be willing to learn.
Well, the
Indeed.
first step I would think you would need to learn how to speak to the spirits, which is a fairly simple endeavor.
Chases a Storm, the Right Master of this sept, spoke to me before the battle. He actually caught me in the heart of the cairn as I was praying. And he told me that if I survived, that there would be Theurges willing to teach me how to speak to the spirits.
Theurges, huh? Do you know my auspice?
No, I do not.
She smirks. Dear friend Logan, I am a full moon.
You're now a room?
She
I
nods.
didn't realize.
I try and comport myself just a little bit with more grace and control than, well, Travis or Andre. And it's not an easy endeavor.
Rage is a difficult thing to bear.
Can be, but it's not insurmountable. But all the same, if you want to learn to speak to the spirits, you don't need a theurge for it. You simply need to find a spirit that's willing to teach you.
I didn't know that.
I would recommend, and she kind of flicks at the tip of one of his ears, maybe going with Bat to start with.
There are bad spirits around here.
Well, until that the tree houses were destroyed, they frequented the bell tower that it had. I'm sure you could track down a few of them. I know that there were shadow lords here that conferred with bats at one point, according to Honors the Lost, anyway.
Honors the Lost knows about bad spirits.
He knows about the bat changers. Told me so.
There were bat changers.
Kamatots or Zots or something of that ilk. Changers that were killed outside of the War of Rage and Shame. Apparently by the Shadow Lords, according to Honors. One could assume that if they confer with them now, maybe it is to make amends.
I would hope so.
It's actually not a half bad idea now that I consider it. A bat arrow. One that could make someone bleed incessantly, or maybe in your case help you track down an individual if they were constantly pinging out with a subsonic frequency.
That would be an interesting idea. A tracer arrow. I'll have to go to this bell tower to speak with bats.
Well, she points at the ground where there's the remains of a bell tower that was destroyed in the explosion.
Ah. It's no longer there anymore.
Maybe we can find one of the grottos here in the Umbra, or venture out into the city to a bell tower in one of the churches. I'm sure we can find bats around the set, though.
Nothing on not. I mean, there isn't much. I just say, okay, yeah, sure. It's like he's only spoken or he's only seen a bat spirit before. He's never spoken to one.
And with that, Kelly sort of places the arrow back in her quiver and will channel Gnosis through her to make the bow, quiver, and armor fade away. She does leave the fang dagger that's still on loan from Travis on her belt. Well, I should probably get back to duties of being a keeper, so I'll leave you to it, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And Logan will hold out his hand.
Callie will hold out hers and then grasp him at the forearm rather than taking his hand in a shake.
Logan will return the gesture.
Well met, Fury. Well met.
To you as well.
And with that, she walks off back towards areas where the plant spirits are a little bit more abounding.
Logan will sort of try to, he'll go off in the other direction, sort of in the direction of his new alpha, Honors the Lost, to go speak with him about bat spirits.
And I do think there is a good place to end our scene. Thank you for watching.